Hey, this is Josh Green with Alchemy Design and Development and Traverse Capital. Wanted to do a quick video just kind of showing how I find land deals, and it's not the most efficient way to do it. There's much better ways to do it, I think, if you're doing it in scale. But anyway, this is a process that's worked for me. It's helped me to find several deals, off market, going direct to owner. Um, and so, yeah, like I say, if you're in the brokerage world or wholesaler, doing kind of mass marketing, this will look very inefficient to you, which is okay. I'm not doing that many deals, and so this process works well for me. It's a lot more kind of manual, hands-on, but it's worked well for me. So I'm going to share my screen here. So we're starting off, what you're looking at here. This is a zoning map, and what I always recommend to students and other people that I talk to is, I think the best way to do this is to really to pick an area that you like and you want to focus on. So for me, that's been Cedar City, Utah, and Ogden, Utah. Those are kind of the two places that I've decided to focus, and where I found a lot of deals actually through this same process that I'm about to show you. And the reason for that is because you really need to have a good understanding of the zoning. And so for those not familiar with zoning, this is a zoning map. It's basically, a color-coded map. It's showing you, this is for Cedar City, Utah. And what it's doing, each of these colors is a different zone. And what that means is it tells you what the city will allow to be built in that area. So, if we're looking at this, kind of this blue area, we see a lot of single family homes there. That's probably, I mean, we can click on this and see what that zone is. Um, maybe, maybe not. Okay, there it is. So this is an R1 zone, which is a residential zone, a single family, kind of low density zone. And we can kind of see that from looking at this map, right? You see a lot of single family homes, kind of bigger lots. We can kind of click around here, look at some different things, but these red areas, these are commercial zones. And so what's allowed to be built in those areas is a lot different than this R1 zone. It's more commercial uses, probably some hotels and restaurants, things like that, are what's allowed in these areas. And so wherever you decide to focus, you really need to understand the zoning and what's allowed in each zone. So for what I'm doing, building townhome rental communities, usually that works best in like a multifamily zone. And so, and Cedar City has a multifamily zone. It's called the R3M zone, and that's kind of these brown areas here. If you can see my cursor. Um, and so, what I recommend is, number one is to pick an area where you want to be, where you want to look for deals, an area that you like, that you believe in, has good fundamentals of job growth, all of those great things. Um, and then really understand the zoning and understand, what you want to do there and what zones will allow you to do that. And so for me, just using this as an example, this is Cedar City, Utah. I already know that this brown zone is the R3M zone, and it's the highest density residential zone in Cedar City. Um, and I know that I can get a townhome project to work in that zone. I could probably get it to work in some other zones that are less dense. I mean, you can see some townhomes in other areas here throughout the city that are different zones. But for me, I know, I've done the research. I know that this zone works for what I want to do. And so, what I would do, and I'll just use a property that we already own here. Um, and each municipality is different. Cedar City is nice because it combines the zoning map with parcel data. And so you kind of skip a step. And in some places, the zoning map might be a PDF, and then you might have to go to the assessor or the recorder's website to get the parcel information. Cedar City is nice because I can get it all in one place. So I already know that I like this R3M zone because it allows me to do what I want to do. So if I go in here anywhere and click on any one of these parcels, maybe if the map works, okay. Okay, so this is showing me there's an airport overlay. There is an airport here, and so there's some special, restrictions and things you have to take into account if you're within this airport overlay zone. But right here we see this is the residential 3M, R3M, multiple units, multifamily zone, right? And if I click through here, what I'm trying to do is click on a parcel and get the parcel information. So right here we see this is the account number, this is the parcel number, this is the owner, which we happen to be the owner of this parcel. There's some other information you can see here, address, size, some different things like that. And so what I do is once I find a parcel that I'm interested in that has the right zoning, that's the right shape, size, location, everything, I want to start building a database of these properties that I can kind of work my way through, reaching out, contacting the owners. And so I've done that here. These are all properties in Cedar City that I've identified, kind of fit my criteria. And these are, a list of how many do we have here? 23 properties that I'm interested in making something happen, right? Or at least reaching out to the owner to see what their plans are for the property. So what I would do next is I would start building out this database. And what I do, and it's again not the most efficient way, but there's a lot of ways you can get a hold of these owners. You can, cold call them, you can track down their email, you could show up on their front porch. For me, I'm an introvert, and some of those things, they kind of scare me. And so sending out a letter is a lot less intimidating for me. And I've had good luck doing that. And so, I need to know, okay, Cold Creek Townhomes 2 LLC, who is this, right? Like where if I wanted to contact this owner about this property, where do I send a letter to? And so if you're here in Utah, there's a couple tools, and again, these are all free tools, right? You can pay for software subscriptions that kind of automate this whole thing and make it a lot easier. But you can also do it the free way, which is the way that I do it. And so one way is go to the Utah Business Search, and here you can search for any LLC, any business name, and we can get some more information. So if I type in here Cold Creek Townhomes 2. Oh geez, let's reload this. Oh boy. Okay, so I'm here at the Utah Business Entity Search. So here I can search for any business name, any LLC. I can get some more information, and we'll see. There's some of these there's multiple layers, right? It's an LLC owned by an LLC, and so you have to do a little bit of digging. But just for an example, let's type in Cold Creek Townhomes 2, which is this is this parcel that we identified. The right zoning, fits our criteria. We found the owner here on in this case, this is the zoning map, which also has parcel information, but you might find this through the recorder's office or the assessor's office through their websites. Okay, so we've got one result for Cold Creek Townhomes 2. If I click on that, this is going to show me some information, right? So look at that. The registered agent is Josh Green. I know that guy. And here's the address, right, or where he can be reached. And so I would take that and I would add that to my database, right? Like I would have the account number, the parcel number, the owner's name. I would have some information about, how big the site is. In this case, I know the maximum density allowed, and so I can put in, kind of a placeholder density of like how many potential units this could be. And then I've got the owner's name and information. And if you're not able to find it on the business entity search, or if it's just an individual person, right? The other place you could go look is on the treasurer or the assessor, the recorder's uh, parcel search, right? So I could do the same thing here. I could copy this parcel number, and we're now on the Iron County tax account search, right? And we can search by parcel. So if I paste in that same parcel number here, okay, this brings up Coal Creek Townhomes 2 LLC. And then this gives me an address. So, this is a different address than what the business is registered under, right? And so if you look at my database over here, I have a couple different rows for names and addresses because there might be a couple different names or addresses or entities out there associated with that parcel. So what I would do next, I've built this database, I've kind of tracked down the owner, and I've got their address, so I've got enough information now that I can send a letter, right? And there's a whole, science and research behind how to do direct mail. This is a template that I've used and I've had, some success with. I found, I don't even know how many deals I found this way. Most recently, we've got a property in Ogden, and it was two different owners. I used the same strategy on both owners to track them down, go to direct to owner, and in two different transactions close on this bigger property that we're going to be developing with townhomes. And so, I again, like there's a whole science and research and psychology behind direct mail and letters, but really the short of it is we're trying to, if you think about when you get your mail, what's the first thing you do? You start flipping through it, you sort it into a trash or a recycle pile, and you sort it into a pile of things that you want to open or that you want to, at least look at. And in the first stage, we're just trying to make it through the cut, right? We're just trying to make the cut of like, okay, this is something that I want to open. I'm curious about this letter. And so the way that I do that is I hand address, every envelope. I put an actual stamp on it, and a lot of times that's enough. Think about if you get a letter in the mail that's hand addressed, handwritten, got an actual stamp on it. Chances are that probably makes it into your keep pile, right? And that's all we're going for at this point. And the actual letter, I try to make it personal. I try to put either a picture or a parcel image of the property that I'm talking about, and the idea there is that I hope that they can see that this isn't just a mass postcard that everyone on the block is getting the same thing, right? Whoever's sending me this letter has spent a little bit of time, researching it. It's personalized. It's, addressed to them. I'm showing, hey, this is the property that I'm looking at. Make sure we're looking at the same thing, right? And I just keep it, honest and personal, right? This is one that I sent on a property here, which I haven't heard back on yet. Maybe someday, or maybe needs a follow-up letter. But I just say who I am. I'm a small scale developer, an investor. I'm looking for properties in this area. I own some properties already in this area, and want to keep going because I know a little bit about the zoning. I try to add some value, or maybe adds value, maybe it doesn't. But I try to give them something like, hey, I've looked at the zoning. I think this is what's possible on your property. This is a perfect fit for what I do. I'd like to talk to you more about what your plans are for the property. If you'd be open to selling it. If not, I also do consulting. Is there anything I can do to help you, with this property that's just undeveloped? And I put my email, my cell phone number there, and I hand sign every one of these. And a lot of times I'll put, this is a picture of me and my wife, and that's who I am. We're a small business. We're family oriented, and yeah, this is what we're looking for. And all I'm trying to do at this point is I'm trying to get them, to call or text or email me back so that we can have a conversation, right? And like I said, there's more direct ways to do this. You could look up their phone number, whitepages.com is a tool that I use. You can look up owners. You can by name, by address. If you have their phone number, you can look up reverse. Who belongs to that phone number. If I wasn't so terrified of cold calling, I could go direct. But this letter is really just kind of the first step. It's a way for me to put it out there. Hey, I'm interested in your property. This is what I think you can do with it. This is a little bit about who I am. Would love to talk to you more about it. And that's where the real conversations happen, right? Is if you can get someone to call you back, text you back, email you back, and have a conversation. And this doesn't it doesn't all happen fast, right? This is a process, and sometimes it takes sending several of these or different versions of these as follow-ups. But again, we're just trying to, at this point, we're just trying to make it into the keep pile of mail, and then hopefully we've given them enough interesting things to maybe give us a call back, or call or text or email. And that's basically it. And so like I said, I'm a small scale kind of developer, investor. And so what I'll usually do is I'll take a chunk of these at a time, send out a batch of letters, wait to see if I get anything back. If not, I'll move on to the next batch. And in your database there, just keep track of, okay, I send a letter on this date, put in a follow-up date of when you're going to send another letter, or when you're going to make a phone call, or and then as you get more information, you can add that to your database, right? If you get a phone number or an email, or you actually have a conversation, you can include notes there about, maybe now's not a good time, but maybe follow up a little bit later. And so I make notes like that for follow-up. And that's half the battle, is just following up. We just recently closed on a property that from the time I sent the first letter until the time we closed on it was probably 2 years, 2.5 years, for that particular owner. And it's just the follow-up, right? Every few months or so, I would check in and see if anything had changed, see if he was still, thinking about selling, if now was a good time. And anyway, so it takes some time and some patience, but that's really it. That's what I use. That's what I do to turn up deals, and land deals specifically. But you could use this for any type of property. If you're looking to buy homes, or you're looking to buy multifamily, right? If we were looking to buy multifamily, maybe I would click on this property here, find out who this owner is, reach out to them, see what their plans are for the property. If they're interested in selling. But that's basically it. It's really simple, and like I say, it's not very sophisticated. And there's a lot of software and other tools and things out there that can make this a lot easier. Really kind of automate even sending out letters. But I try to give it the personal touch, and do kind of small batches at a time. And so anyway, that's really it. And if you have any questions, or any follow up, want to know more about how I find deals, feel free to reach out to me. Put my contact information here, and you're welcome to reach out to me anytime. But I hope that's helpful, and we'll talk to you on the next one.